Near a small village named Dharmapur, surrounded by gentle hills and a peaceful river, lived a boy named Aarav. Aarav was a kind, hard-working, and sincere child. He was always ready to help others, and never shied away from any task, no matter how big or small. But despite all this, one thing constantly stole his happiness: his habit of comparing himself to others. Every time he saw his friend Kabir, the top student in class, who remembered everything with ease, Aarav would sigh and think, "I wish I were as smart as Kabir." When he saw his neighbor Ramesh, who came from a wealthy family, wore new clothes every day, and rode a fancy bicycle, Aarav would feel a pang of sadness. "I wish my family had the same kind of money." Even when he saw someone who could run faster, sing better, or draw more beautifully, Aarav would feel discouraged. He believed he could never reach that level, that he was less than others, not good enough. This constant self-doubt slowly began to drain the joy from his life. His studies started to slip. He lost the enthusiasm to help with chores at home. In his heart, he felt like a failure, like someone left behind in a world where everyone else was better. One day, a famous monk happened to visit the village. He had traveled to many lands, teaching people about the truths of life, and helping them discover meaning and purpose. When Aarav heard about him, he decided to go and speak with the wise master. "Master," he said, "I work very hard, but every time I see someone who's better than me, I feel sad and small. I don't know how to stop feeling this way." The monk looked at him kindly and said with a gentle smile, "Tomorrow morning, at sunrise, come to the old tree by the lake. There, you will find your answer." Though curious and unsure, Aarav followed the monk's words. The next morning, as the first rays of sunlight touched the earth, he arrived at the spot. The monk was already waiting, holding a bamboo staff, his eyes calm and wise. He asked, "Look around this forest, my child. What do you see?" Aarav looked and replied, "There are many types of trees, Master. Some are tall like the eucalyptus, some short like tea bushes. Some have flowers, others bear fruit, and some just have leaves. Each is different." The monk nodded and then asked, "What if the bamboo tree began to complain that it doesn't have beautiful flowers like the frangipani?" And the frangipani became sad because it's not as tall as the bamboo? What would you say then? Aarav laughed. "That would be silly, Master. Every tree is born with its own beauty and purpose." The monk smiled again and said softly, "Then why do you feel sad for not being like someone else?" Aarav was silent. The monk continued, "Humans are just like this forest. Each one is born with a different purpose, a different strength. It is not our sameness, but our uniqueness, that makes the world beautiful and balanced." He then took Aarav to the edge of a lake, where colorful fish swam gracefully in the water, and birds soared freely in the sky. Pointing to the scene, the monk asked, "If a fish felt sad because it couldn't fly, or a bird became upset because it couldn't swim deep like the fish, would that make sense?" Aarav shook his head. "Of course not, Master. Fish are meant to swim, and birds are meant to fly. And you, my child," said the monk gently, "are meant to do something that only you can do. Why try to become someone else when you were born to become you?" At that moment, Aarav's eyes lit up. He understood. He didn't have to be as good as anyone else. He only needed to live true to his own strengths, his own purpose. From that day forward, Aarav changed. He stopped focusing on what others were good at, and started discovering what he loved, what he could do well. His studies improved, his joy returned, and his heart felt lighter. Years later, Aarav grew into a successful man. Not because he became like someone else, but because he fully became himself. He inspired everyone in the village. And whenever someone came to ask him the secret to his success, he would simply smile and say, "Don't compare yourself to anyone. The moon and the sun both shine, but at different times. The fish never needs to fly. The bird never needs to dive deep. Find your own gift, your own rhythm, and success will follow."